Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Francois Gautier, as the moderator has introduced me. I'm born in Paris, in France, in a Catholic family. My father was a very good man, was a staunch Catholic. My uncle was a parish priest. When I was small, very small, I wanted to become a missionary. But when I came to India, my eyes were opened very quickly on what the monostheistic religions, Islam and Christianity, have done to India. And I started reading history books, I started inquiring, and then I stumbled upon the Inquisition. Now, there are a number of books on the Goa Inquisition, also written by, Portuguese, by English. So there is plenty of material on the Inquisition. When I made my exhibition in the Shivaji Maharaj Museum, Pune, I had all these books, So there was but I thought, let me go to Goa, and get the feeling. I don't know how many of you have seen the Jewish Holocaust Museum in Washington, and indeed there are many Jewish Holocaust museums all over the world. Now, the Jews have made sure that it is never forgotten what Hitler did to the Jews, and indeed there were many genocide of the Jews also over the centuries. What they call pogroms in Russia and different Eastern European countries. But the Jews made sure that it was never forgotten. And if you go to the Washington Jewish Holocaust Museum, you are just, it jumps on your face what atrocities have been committed. But when I went to Goa, I mean, of course, there was that one, pole where people were crucified or burnt, but there was nothing. I was surprised that in India, and I'm going to say it very strongly, in India, people want to forget about their own history. Of course, this is a good initiative. This online inauguration of the exhibition. I'm grateful to Hindu Jagruti and to Ramesh Shinde for giving us this opportunity. But it's a very small thing, it's a very small thing. The Nehruvian spirit, of brushing history under the carpet, is still alive today, unfortunately. And the museum I have done in Pune is a small effort, but it's not happening. And when I went to Goa, there was nothing. Someone took me around and said, look here, this is where they kept prisoners, these were the jails, but there was no marking, nothing, no engraving, no marble, nothing to remind you what happened. It's as if Indians want to forget. And the impression I got in Goa is that, and Goa has been under BJP government for now 10 years. But even then, Indians want to forget. But no nation can move forward unless they know their own history. And the Inquisition is such cruel, it's such a bloody episode of Indian history. Of course, there are many, many more, but at the hand of Christians, at the hand of Portuguese, and let me remind you that the Portuguese were not only very cruel rulers, but that they're also the last to leave, that even Mr. Nehru had to send his tanks, and his army so that the Portuguese would leave India. So my thing today is that, yes, it was a very cruel thing, but India needs to remember, we have petitioned the Pope because Saint Xavier, Saint Francis Xavier, which is a saint, who is a saint, we want the Pope to apologize. I don't think the Pope is going to remove the sainthood of Saint Francis Xavier. It seems to me far-fetched, but why not? We've petitioned him, but the Pope should apologize. The Pope has apologized, for many other things. He should apologize for what the Christians did in India. And as a journalist, when I have covered India a lot, I've covered Kerala, I've covered Tamil Nadu, I was there during the tsunami. What's happening today with the missionaries is violence. Hindus are not burnt or crucified or tortured like they were during the Inquisition, but the way Christian missionaries are using financial incentives to convert poor people, to convert Dalits, to convert tribals, is violence in itself. And again, sorry, but I don't see the government doing much to stop that. I believe that in Andhra Pradesh, 30% of Andhra Pradesh become Christians. In Tamil Nadu itself, the statistics are wrong. After the tsunami, at least 1 million to 2 million people were converted to Christianity with new boats, housing, free education. This is violence. This is violence on a culture. When a culture, lets invaders, whether the people who burn them or whether people who convert them, they let them do their work, like this. It's a culture that is bound to die. So it's very important that we remind the world of what happened. And it's very important that this Holocaust, this Christian Holocaust in Goa, is known first to Indians, because Indians don't know about it. I know about it. Few of you know about it. Shefali, who join us now, knows about it, but very few Indians know about it, and it's the fault of Indians. Can't accuse the Portuguese that Indians don't remember what has been done to them, that they choose to glorify a Tipu Sultan or Aurangzeb or Saint Francois Xavier. So many schools are still today named after Saint Francois Xavier. But I am aware of it, but Indians are not aware. It is not in the textbook, it is not in the history books. So there is a great fault there. And I want to take this opportunity, instead of harping on what the Portuguese did. Yes, I have done an exhibition, I have shown the Portuguese, they came to India, they came to Kerala, they were welcomed, and they abused this welcome, and they started, raising temples, they raised mosques also, and forcibly marrying, Hindu women to Portuguese soldiers, and torturing Hindus, and burning them, executing them. Yes, they did that. It's documented. There are books, and it's there in my museum too. But the problem is that Indians do not want to remember, and an event like this is so rare. We are going to be labeled as fundamentalist, as extremist. But every country remembers its history. In my country, France, the Protestants killed the Catholic. It was very murderous. The Christians can give you lessons today, but what the Protestants and the Catholics, who are both Christian, did to themselves is, in England, for instance, or in France, it's murderous. But they remember it. In France, they do. There are massacres of Protestants by Catholics. It is there in every history books. Now, where is the Inquisition in Indian history book except one paragraph? Where is what Tipu Sultan did except, so he glorified also? Where is what Aurangzeb did to Hindus, except a few paragraphs? So this Goa Inquisition, it is not about what the Portuguese did. It's about what Indians are doing to themselves. There are so few Indians who are remembering, so few Indians who care to say, look, let us approach the Pope. Let us tell the Pope, there was atrocities committed by your people. You need to apologize for it. It's for the government to do it also. You have a government that you have elected, which is a government elected by the Hindus. It is for them, that officially they approach the Pope and they put it in history books. I don't think the Christians will react in the West as violently as Muslims would do, because the Christians in the West have evolved. The Christianity that I see in India today, mostly by Indian missionaries, is a Christianity that was in my country 200 years ago. So fundamentalist, so rigid. If you enter a temple, you commit a sin. You cannot put a puja on your head. You cannot do a puja. We see Christians here in Pondicherry and in Delhi, wherever I go, we see Christians who are so rigid. Where the Christians in my country have evolved. They're able to go into a Hindu temple and feel they're not committing a sin. My brother, the Protestant, he came to India. My wife and I brought him to temples. He entered and he was open and he liked it. So the problem is not with the Portuguese. The problem is with Indians. The problem with the government, the Hindu government, in both in Goa and at the center, who does not care to rewrite in history books as they should be rewritten. And the Inquisition needs to be highlighted. Children of Indian children need to know what atrocities were committed to their forefathers. I know people from Goa, I don't know if she's listening now. We have in Fact USA, we have a lady whose family is originally from Goa, who had to immigrate to Karnataka. There is still a trauma in them. People are still traumatized 500 years after what happened. They're still traumatized. What has happened? People were burnt and tortured for no other reason that they came from another religion. This is a crime against humanity, and yet when I go to Goa, I don't see any marks of it. Hindus themselves don't care to say a crime has been committed against us. Let the world know about it. Let us remember, as the Jews had done. Let the world remember what the greatest Holocaust ever is that of the Hindus. Not only the Inquisition, but 10 centuries of Muslim invasions. And it's going on today. Missionaries are coming, with money donated, millions of dollars donated in the West by innocent people who think that it's going to, help, feed people in India or educate them. But actually, it is used to convert people because Christianity still believes that it is a true religion and Hinduism is a religion of pagan. I know otherwise. I've come to this country and I've realized there was a knowledge here that is gone from the world, that the Christians knew once, but I've forgotten that I'm reborn from life to life, that, there is karma, there is dharma, there is avatars, God takes many different names. This knowledge is very precious, but Hindus do not seem to realize how precious it is, except for a few. And these few are labeled as extremists. Even myself, I'm labeled as an extremist, as a pro-Hindu, anti-Christian, anti-Muslim man. Well, I'm just saying the truth. Truth is truth. So what happened is Goa needs to be documented. It needs to be known by Indian children. It needs to be known by the West. And the Pope needs to apologize for it. Namaste.